बिस्मिल्लाह एरकमा नेरखीम। हेलो फ्रेंड्स, कैसे हो आप सब? उम्मीद है कि एचएपी खैरियत से हों जी। यू आर वाचिंग जीएन न्यूज उर्दू एंड अब तक की आम खबरें ये है। आज तारीख है या
May 8, 2022. First, Russia, Ukraine. Chungo Odessa was hit by missiles as Ukraine claims to have sunk another Russian ship. Drone strike on Snake Island has wreaked havoc on the landing craft as retaliation accelerates in the north. All women and children evacuated from Azovstal. Ukraine claims to have destroyed another Russian ship, as it did. Britain is ready to provide an additional 31.3 billion military package to Ukraine. The devices will include anti-battery radar systems, as well as GPS jamming and night vision devices. Russia-Ukraine war, Odessa hit by missiles because Ukraine. Putin believes he cannot afford to lose the war in Ukraine. CIA chief. The CIA chief says Putin believes a double cut in the war against Ukraine will help him make progress. Ukraine is moving forward with the evacuation of Azovstal. Zelensky vowed to evacuate medical personnel and injured people from the besieged Azovstal plant. Russia says British YouTuber has been arrested in Kazakhstan. More deaths are feared in Ukraine after the bombing of a school shelter. How Victory Day centers on the idea of Putin's Russian identity. Citizens are now outside the besieged Ukraine steel plant. Ukraine and Russia say all elderly people, women and children leave the Azovstal plant in Mariupol. Russia says a British citizen known for its YouTube travel blog has been detained at the Baikonur Cosmodrome spaceport. Some important news from around the world. A bomb blast near the Cuban city of Havana has killed at least 30 people. Live, Federal Election 2022 Live, Morrison stresses homosexual concerns. Albany says it is similar to the Labour coalition's IVF policy. Roz Atkins on Why May 9th. Important for Russia. Whatever the day of Russia's victory parade considered to represent, it will not be of any kind victory over Ukraine, regardless of spin. President Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin will. Neighbors say North Korea is testing new missiles. According to South Korea and Japan, North Korea has fired a submarine-launched ballistic missile into the sea off the east coast of the peninsula. Middle East news. Egypt. The military says 11 soldiers have been killed in a militant attack in the Sinai. Yazidi in Iraq. Nightmare is unbelievable. Fresh fighting has driven 1,000 Yazidi families out of their homes. Despite the ceasefire, the situation remains tense. Will high oil prices derail Middle East reforms? The war in Ukraine has pushed up energy prices, benefiting oil-producing countries. Will it derail their plans to go green? Israel destroys Palestinian home that kills Jewish settlers. Human rights groups regularly condemn Israel's house demolition policy as a collective punishment. Ekrim Asabari, Aqsa is for Muslims by the will of Allah. The former Grand Mufti of Jerusalem has debated why the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound is a permanent center of tension. The Palestinians have vowed to stay in the West Bank despite decades of defeat in the legal battle. Now Asian news. Marcos Jr. wraps up Philippine campaign as expected. The possibility of Ferdinand Marcos Jr. moving to the presidential palace has troubled rights activists and church leaders. The diplomats called on Sri Lanka to reconsider its state of emergency. The European Union, the United States and Canada have questioned the use of emergency forces, which allow the deployment of troops to maintain law and order. Go Ta Go. Anti-government protest strike in Sri Lanka. Demonstrations continue with shortages of imported food, fuel and medicine during the severe economic crisis. Hong Kong's next leader is a hardline former police officer who has been protesting the city's crackdown. Pakistan seeks $33 billion maturity expansion in Saudi Arabia after criticizing Imran Khan for making mistakes. Shahid Afridi stood his ground. His supporters have gathered behind him on Twitter after his recent comments on politics circulated online. Afghanistan. After the rule of Naqab, women's faces became the latest ban on Taliban. Punjab police guarded Fahar Khan's residence for 3 years without any reason. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif did not make false promises. Shahbaz Sharif said that his government would develop all the provinces of the country equally with the help of allies.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel.